we're moving into game one while I have to kind of purge that idea of AD Hay from my brain. SLCC on blue team, Poro-Snax on red team. Let's get into this.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience and for withstanding the ridiculousness that is Juhadre's brain on game day. We've got a Mumu band here on the side of Slick. Yorick taken away by Poro-Snax as well. You know, that's actually really interesting. I thought Techion was a Yorick player. You can check in the memes channel in our server, join our Discord server, by the way, and he loves that champion.
Yeah, it's a little bit, we're seeing big tanks. So like immediately we went from, mages were strong, marksmen are strong, and the things that I'm not missing from 4 bands in, 5 bands in, no marksmen, no mages. We're going straight into team fighters. Now there's a good chance that they are target banning very specific players in this. With any rookie new team, it's going to be difficult for us to know who they play often. And yet these are not bands I would have expected.
So the Malzahar ban doesn't surprise me. That is Proden's favorite champion. And I tried really hard to specifically not mention names when I said that he was a mage player. So I'm glad that Poro-Snax did their homework, right? They looked through and they found the history and they took that away. Though I do want to see him play it at least once because I think it's... You played him. You played Malzahar the other day and you love that champion. So I'm sure you agree with me.
Yes, I do, and I know how underrated he can be. Although Sivir coming out right away, big team fight champion, someone who probably shouldn't be as scared of Malzahar as much. Getting locked down is never fun. Poro-Snax immediately following up with a Cho'Gath, and Teemo probably a little bit of a troll. It's probably going to get covered something else. I don't know where else you'd put him. Poro-Snax, don't do this to me. Thank you. On to the Nunu.
It comes from the Yordle banter in the general chat. Nunu is locked in. This is actually a really fun pick that we don't see in most competitive games anymore. It's kind of cheesy, and it's also relatively flexible, right? You can go with the full burst with the high AP, or you can go tanky so that you can stand the whole time in your absolute zero. But I like the pickup. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's a champion who's very, very flexible, as you said. I think very underutilized. I think there's a lot of gank routes, gank paths, team fight abilities that you can play around with Nunu, and we just don't see that. As you said, I think he's not very strong if you haven't used him very often. But getting more people in Melio, we're seeing some strong anti-CC with Melio and Sivir. Got the spell shield and the cleanse from the Melio ultimate. Immediately followed up, Trash Lord hovering the Hui, or not hovering the Hui, but picking the Hui. We have a very, very beefy team on Poro-Snax, very frontline heavy.
Yeah, and especially with the lights, the shield that Hui can give with his W, that's going to be even better. Getting that area shield for your engagers or just your front line as a whole is a great way to use the diversity in Hui's kit.
Yeah, certainly. That Vi is something that is going to be a little scary for that, if she can get around, but it might be such that, it's exactly what I want to see. A Samira on the side of Poro-Snax. If they're getting dove, like, who do you pick? Do you pick Hui or do you pick Samira for the damage? We're seeing strong bans from SLCC, really just pinching that support role. Alistar, Thresh, Mumu, like they're saying, we do not want this lockdown, and they pick 2 anti-CC champs. And then we see the ASL. Makes total sense.
Yeah, I really like the Aurelion Soul pick here. So one of the things from a long time ago I remember is Sivir is strong when tanks are strong, when juggernauts are strong, because she removes the limit on those champions, right? Because they can't get to the carries. Well, suddenly you've got all that movement speed. That's where Sivir really shines. But you need that backup plan, and that's what Aurelion Sol is. He's a nice, safe laner in the mid lane. He's got the way to hold out until the late game and becomes this massive carry threat. I love the pick.
And they were hovering set. The second you were saying, I love that they can enable tanks, and then they switched to Mundo. I do not like the Mundo as much as the set, but you know what? Mundo is still that very big front line. We're seeing big front to back. We have a little bit of a pick comp with Vi and Blitzcrank. Poro-Snax picking that as we were speaking. I'm excited. This is going to be big, bombastic team fights. I don't think anyone's going to be sneaking around in side lanes. I think these are the teams that you're going to take a big team fight and you're going to duke it out until someone's on top.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One of the things I want to call out real quick, because you started bringing it up, is the strength of Sivir against the banned champions, right? Leona, Thresh, and Alistar all have combos that negate the spell shield because they have the follow-up. They have that second spell, right? Zenith Blade into the shield bash. You gotta pick one. Which one are you gonna stop? Are you gonna stop moving because Zenith Blade gets you? Or are you gonna stay stunned with the shield bash? Headbutt pulverize combo, same thing. You gotta pick one. Thresh, Death Sentence to Deflate, gotta pick one. And so I really like the banning strategy from Slick. They were able to get all these champions that ruin the idea of the Sivir spell shield.
Yeah, and yet when they were first picking Sivir, I saw the cleanse and I was like, it just seems it goes from smart because they're banning the champions that are good against Sivir to kind of fearful because like she's taking cleanse, she has Melio, and she's Sivir. It feels like you have a little bit of flexibility. Like I know CC is really rough as an ADC, but you've got a team and the team is able to support you. So I'm glad to see the barrier. And honestly, I'm not seeing a lot of like. Obviously, you got hard CC in the form of Blitzcrank, and a little bit from Cho'Gath, but nothing that's cleansable, nothing that is Melio cleansable. This is strictly a team that is going to be needing to be avoiding through positioning and not through things like CC.
Agreed. But now on the side of Poro-Snax, I like the aggression that they've been able to draft, right? You have a lot of damage from Hui, you have the dive in from the Samira, and all three of the other champions are just ways to set that up. And I think that the composition kind of brings itself together in that way.
Yeah, in that way indeed. I'm very excited. 60 seconds to start from, but we have, that A-Soul is going to be scaling really hard. We're just going to see a lot of damage from our mid laners. Really excited to see Proden show his control mage prowess. He's going to have a little bit of difficulty with the Nunu. Mundo alone is not enough to body block for champs like Nunu, champs like Cho'Gath. Realizing just how much of a slugfest top lane is going to be between the two beefiest of champions, unless we see a lane swap like you were talking about.
And talk to me about what that would look like. Are these teams set up to do that? I would think that Vi is with her auto attack reset, but I don't know that Nunu is great in a lane swap situation.
Yeah, well, Vi and Nunu being the junglers, of course, but yeah, I think both top laners would really struggle but they're also both top laners that would not be offended by losing that gold from the CS. All they really need is the experience. They have good scaling on their health and whatnot, but you don't really need that much of it, especially when we're looking at teams like a Blitzcrank on the enemy team or a Vi that's just running past you anyways. But the countdown's done. Should be moving into the game. Excited to see Theory be brought into action. It's going to be a good game.
Absolutely. So that is the end of the spectator delay, as Shazbot alluded to. That means we'll be on the Rift here momentarily. So let's see some love in the chat. We'll see SLC win or PS win. Let's do it that way. Let's see some love in the chat. We've got a few of our old time buddies in here. Brizabel is live. Calavir is hanging out as well. We got a few newcomers also. I'm really excited.
Yeah, this very excited for this one. All right, now we got to throw our own hats into the ring. Who are we voting for? I think I got to give it to Poro-Snax. They kind of won my heart last tournament, and I really want to see them do better than they've been saying for themselves.
Okay. Now, just to add the spice level on the desk, I am going to say Slick. I have a lot of faith in Proden and in the practice that he and the team have been putting in, even though I do agree that the draft from Poro-Snax is very exciting. I bring up again the way that they're able to engage and then just layer on the damage, but I think that the regiments and what is the word I'm trying to look for? Shazbot, help me.
I'm sorry, you're beyond help. You're going for SLCC when you could have been going.
Oh, okay, I see how it is. Very, very good. All right, everybody. Game number 1 of the August tournament is coming up right now. We see PS, SLC. Ooh, so much going on. Go esports. Thank you, Comet Crash. We appreciate that. Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. I love this community. Guys, if you're not in here yet, fix that. Sign up, come interact with us. We're not that scary. Yeah. Okay.
So then, one of my favorite things to talk about is why certain champions are in the roles they are. One reason that Rom and Nautilus are so good at support is at level 1, they are immensely powerful, right? You have the dredge line and the passive from Nautilus. That's so much crowd control. Braum has concussive blows plus an extra way to proc it when you start with the Winter's Bite. So champions like that make level 1 very, very strong for your team. So of what we saw drafted, which level 1 is stronger, and do we see an invade from it?
It's funny. I have such a hard time thinking past the Blitzcrank. You think Blitzcrank and you're like, that they're going to be invading. And honestly, like even in a solo queue environment, Blitzcrank is such a spear of invading that that you're expecting it. But having said that, I really think that Acel is kind of an underrated anti-invade person. That's a tough one. That's a tough one, Chuhadre.
I'm with you though. I think the Blitzcrank wins that. Especially you told me if you don't start Q on Aurelion Sol, you're trolling.
True. I think it's one of those things that maybe people who actually play Aurelion Sol a little bit more than I do might shrug their nose at, but being able to stack it, we're immediately getting that invade.
I'm loving this.
The tension's building. The rest of Poro-Snax is not here. If Blitzcrank walks out of that bush, they might scare him away, or they might get a face full of hurt. I don't even know if the teams know that how close they are to each other, but we'll see.
Absolutely.
The tension's building.
One of the things you brought up was the gank pathing with Nunu. I think that the recent changes to the Rift really lend themselves to that. He's one of those champions who can take advantage of the spread out Rift, right? With the widening of mid lane, he can still gank because he comes in so quick with that snowball.
Right. And they're nice smooth edges. I really do think that there's more to Nunu that needs to be explored. Than what he's known for. I kind of like you see him tank, you see him AP, and I really just think that there are other ways that you can interact with him through his speed, through his maneuverability. I really just think that you could pressure the map like a Shaco, like a Nocturne. If you start thinking of him as a different champion, as more of a mobility champion than just a burst champion or a tank champion, I really do think that the community can find more possibilities with him.
I agree. And do you remember the good old days of Blood Boil Nunu? When he was a support champion?
Yes.
So there was one time I was casting a tournament where I saw him rush a Tiamat in the jungle. For that exact reason. But we have level 2 on everybody. Let's see if we have our first fight. In goes Jude. Blute fires the hook the wrong direction. Rigby is home free. Getting it. All the auto attacks down. Jude is very, very low. Spell Shield and Ricochet were leveled up. No Boomerang Blade to secure the kill.
Oh my goodness. That is not what you want to do on game 1, is be shooting your most critical ability the wrong way. Hope the morale stays high for Poro-Snax. Look at all those stacks coming in on Proden. Not looking good for Poro-Snax for their first 2 fights.
Definitely not. And, you know, we could say that the health trade was in favor of Poro-Snax, but like you said, oh, that was close. Holy cow.
Oh, this is going to be a stressful game, huh?
Absolutely it is.
Already holding my breath twice. Yeah.
I want to draw attention to the health potions are gone for mid lane already. They've been trading back and forth so much that they've already poked each other out of potions.
Yeah, honestly, the fights on all 3 lanes, this is just some PLC classic. A big slugfest in every lane. The 2 biggest boys in the top lane are just constantly fighting, trying to get those Grasp of the Undying procs. The bottom lane hits level 2, they're immediately fighting. Aurelion Sol trying to get those stacks. Way as strong of a poke champion as he is. This is one of those games that you just love to play Warwick and just, you know, have blood sent all across the map for sure.
Right,
sure.
And as the resident Warwick player, you definitely know how that goes.
I absolutely do.
I love that so much. Bottom lane, grab does land onto Rigby. In jumps Jude, trying to get some damage down. Stack up that passive to get the extra damage. They trade back and forth. Techion is now the gank target. First blood up to an Illusion 99, but here comes Server Panda. Knockup into knockup. Rigby is the target. Gets healed by Honey Guillotine. Slowed down. Rooted. Honey Guillotine picks up the kill onto Jude. Rigby wants to turn around onto Server Panda. Losing vision in the brush. Throws out the ricochet. Ward down. They're chasing super fast. Rigby throws out the boomerang, and that's an answered kill. 3-0 for Slick.
Oh my.
Oh no. Don't do me like oh.
It's so sad.
Oh, it's so sad.
What a powerful showing from SLCC already, you know, being able to get a nice clean gank top side and then responding more critically to the gank bot side. Getting 2 kills on bot side. Some people might say, oh, the support got the kill, but that's a myth. Milio can absolutely use that money. Yeah, SLCC coming in strong, being very, very excited. Very, very excited. A BF sword already on Sivir is not what you want to see if you're Poro-Snax.
Definitely not, especially because it's so expensive. That means the farm and the gold and everything, just the way that Sivir scales, it's not going to be good, especially if she decides that that's going to be a collector first item.
Yeah, if you're saying the boots and the longsword and the Doran's blades canceling each other out, she is strictly just a BF sword above Samira right now. That is just heartbreaking to see. Poro-Snax needs to show that they can not play too aggressive, which we are not seeing.
Jude jumps right back in, has to pop the barrier, knocked up by Honey Guillotine, blocks a little bit of damage there, but there's a red buff on that Sivir, and that red buff secures kill number 4. Never mind, it's going to be number 5 over the top side. Techion does not get the knockup, goes down to an Illusion.
Yeah, level 6 immediately happens, and Mundo sees his opportunity. All the action in top and bot lane. Things are not looking good for Poro-Snax. The jungler can now focus all of his attention into the mid lane. Proden is just sitting happy. Yeah, I'll take some stacks. I'll wait it out.
Absolutely. And that, if you're Aurelion Sol, that's all you ever want, right? You want people to just throw minion waves at you. You clear them with that E and stack, baby.
That's what we're seeing right now on camera, and right now all the priority is for the jungler. Vi, this is Vi's game to lose right now. If she doesn't take the opportunities to make some powerful ganks, to starve Nunu out of some money, to take some strong map objectives, this is where junglers can make or break the game. If Vi is not playing correctly, Proden getting spotted on the Scryer Bloom as he starts to look at bot lane, but it looks like both top and bot lane are shoved up. Proden's going to just need to find another place to be.
That was a really cool roam, though. He is level 7. That means he would have been able to bring down the Skyfall and get yet more crowd control in to feed Rigby.
Correct. Yeah. Not saying that game couldn't have been strong, but Blitzcrank hitting the Scryer Bloom just at the exact right time. Good on Blitzcrank for that. We're seeing they might get contested here by the Void Grubs.
Absolutely. Biggest snowball ever. They do turn it around, but they have to remember there's a lot of turn ability here. In goes the assault and battery. Sorry, that's not what it's called anymore. Server Panda is caught. Yoshido gets that kill. Trash Lord gets his ult onto Yoshido. In goes a Vault Breaker. They've broken the armor. Over the wall goes Proden. He's out of mana, but it doesn't matter because Mundo is super tanky. He's got the ult going, and that's another kill. 7-0, an illusion on a killing spree.
You know, Poro-Snax took the grubs, but they weren't able to turn it back around. I think they saw the opportunity to pile on the Vi. But you know, an Ace ult still has auto attacks even at the end of the day, even if you're out of mana. Still scary, still some big impact on the map there. Vi going to be finishing up the grubs. Cho'Gath going down there. You know, poor Poro-Snax is still struggling on the bot side. Just that huge gold deficit really can't feel good. Oh my goodness.
Speaking of doesn't feel good, wow. Huge damage from the Boomerang Blade off of Rigby. And, you know, good, but pulled back, blocks the Q, flash from Rigby, summoner heal used. Rigby wants to go back and get the plate gold. He does grab it, but TTV is not strong enough to pick up the kill. Vi is here. Yoshido, are we going to see the dive? No ultimate yet. He blocked, knocked under the turret. Barrier popped, damage down onto Rigby. Ultimate from Honey Guillotine means they do get out alive. Trash Lord has shown up, pulls him in with the Spectral Maw. Deals a little bit more damage, but it is not enough. That play was silly.
A lot of back and forth. There was a brief moment where I thought Samira could pull it around. And, you know, one thing that we weren't talking about with Sivir, her strong ultimate, her ability to spell sold, her Boomerang Blade has done so much damage this game. Just the amount of poke, the amount of damage, and it scales very well with attack damage. So getting that early, oh my goodness, the BF sword that turns into the Essence Reaver, terrifying.
Another fight up top that is Heartsteel completed and already stacking for an illusion 99. Knock up there onto Proden. Damage from the Hui as well. He's just going to climb right over that, fly over that wall, I guess I should say. He is out scot-free, and Poro-Snax are not relenting despite their deficit.
Yeah, I like that Poro-Snax are still finding ways to be aggressive despite their position backwards. There's a world in which they can come back if they bide their time, they accept their losses and then find an opportunity. In fact, one could argue that the only way to win this game is to find a silly, unexpected way to come back into this game. Some massive play that shouldn't work when you're this far behind.
I agree. But speaking of how far behind, we are looking at 6,000 gold here, 10 minutes in, 8 kills to nothing in favor of Slick. And I want to see a little bit more proactivity, but I don't know that we can while the lanes are still in the state they are. The turrets are still too strong at this point.
Certainly. And the bot lane, as we're seeing on camera right now, is struggling to get that even EXP, let alone gold from the minions getting starved off that. Blitzcrank going to be starved off, going to collapse on them. Gank mid lane, just fight after fight. These poor Poro-Snax, just leave them alone.
That will secure the Drake for Slick, you know, pushing out the bottom lane. Should do exactly that, but the ward stops the gank in. Server Panda is ready to go and try and contest, but they need to be careful. The bottom lane is here. Rigby throws out the spell shield. Server Panda dodges it, goes absolute zero, pops. Blue team already secures the Drake. Proden gets hit with the fear from Trash Lord. Throws out just a little more. Double kill for Rigby with the Boomerang Blade. Now 10-0. Slick take out the Drake as well.
Yeah, things are not looking good for Poro-Snax. Having objective after objective fall to that. They do have the additional grubs, but they don't have all 3 grubs because Vio's the one who started that. Not looking good. And on top of that, they have 2 infinite, you know, their ADC is fed. The Heartsteel on the Mundo. Aurelian Soul hasn't died.
We got another dive. Jude has to pop the barrier. And cease and desist helps Rigby secure the kill. Another great ultimate from Honey Guillotine stops the kill on Yoshido. And Poro-Snax bot lane is not looking good here. They only have a few hits left on this turret.
Yeah, it's Blitzcrank trying to do his best to keep them off the wave. The turret is going to go down. That is a huge cash inject into them. You can tell Blitzcrank is just doing his best to keep things alive. Hasn't actually died yet, as you see on the... Now, this isn't to say that Samira is the weakness here. It is very difficult to pilot champions, especially when you are this far behind Sivir, someone who's able to win that lead at more fights. But spell immune from the Mundo. It's one of these moments that it's like they're looking for an opportunity to try to even the odds, but just not finding it. More ganks in the top one.
Oh. That was the shield we talked about at the beginning in Champ Select. Trash Lord is able to get that down, and TTV needs to be careful because a ricochet onto Trash Lord might just spell his destruction.
Yeah, I almost don't like Blitzcrank trying to grab Sivir there, because Sivir would have...
Here's the play, though. Teleport from Techion. They're taking more grubs. That's a big ultimate from Proton. Server Panda does go down. Techion is left inside the pit alone. He's going to go down. That's a double kill for Proton. Meanwhile, the bottom lane is here. TTV is getting low. Jude also taking damage. A nice grab underneath the turret, but Rigby takes him down. That is 3-2 on the grubs, meaning that neither team is going to get the buff.
Wow. You got to give it to SLCC.
Oh, never mind. Cease and desist secures yet another kill. 16-0 as they take mid turret.
Incredible. Tier 1 towers down for Poro-Snax so far. You got to give it to SLCC. They are making a strong first impression, being able to take advantage of the map, take advantage of their lead. They do not have the jitters of a first game. I'm excited. Maybe we have a new contender for the likes of Team Unknown and for the Fall Guys.
Absolutely. And here we have our next engage. Grab onto Milio. Honey Guillotine is the target, but the ultimate missed from Trash Lord. Knocked up from the Milio Q. He's going to land a little bit of dissuasion there. Yoshido gets interrupted. TTV. Oh my gosh, TTV almost killed him again. The echo of Vi's damage. Jude is the next target. Rigby goes legendary, taking him down. But the first kill for Poro-Snax comes in at the hands of Server Panda. Diving underneath the turret. He has the ultimate ready. Knock up from Yoshida. Server Panda goes down. TTV goes down. In teleports Techion. No, I lie. Trash Lord is here. He's going to clear out these minions. But will he be safe under this turret?
I know how bad it looks for Poro-Snax right now, but once again, am I finding ways to appreciate them? The Blitzcrank, Mr. Blue TV is finding ways to body block to grab in certain scenarios. I think some of his grabs are a little ambitious, but I like that he's still going for them. Poro-Snax, I think is in a tough spot, but I think that they're still finding ways to have good plays despite their situation.
Absolutely. And it's what we talked about their draft is, built to do. You want to start fights so that your damage dealers can get in there and deal that damage. The only problem to that plan is it doesn't look like their damage dealers have a lot of that damage. Another fight here in the jungle. Rigby stops the grab, but Trash Lord makes it out. Flash from TTV. He is on the run. But you cannot outrun a Sivir who is this fed. Rigby goes legendary, and that's another kill for Slick.
Man, things are... It is a little bit tough to see, a little hard to watch in these scenarios. But yeah, Blitzcrank trying to do his thing with Sivir spell shielding it. At this point, SLC is just drifting into the finish line. I'd actually like to see them kind of pressure the game and close it out. I do not like the fact that they are idling this much with such a strong lead. Kind of getting that solo queue mentality of trying not to lose instead of trying to win the game.
I disagree with that only a little bit though, because you have Aurelion Sol. You're gonna end up winning, but sure. I think that the safest way is the most secure way. Jude is going to be in some trouble here. No W available, flashing away from the Buzzsaw. TTV wanting to start something, but Yoshido gets out.
Yeah, I want to take it back to that mindset that the longer this game goes, maybe in a game that was a little bit closer together, the more opportunities you're giving yourself to fail, to mess up. Getting the big chase here as the Poro-Snax tries to catch up to the jungler, but Vi will be able to get out of that easily. And as this game goes longer, of course you've got heavy scaling champions, but the principle is that if you don't close out a game fast enough, there are opportunities that the longer death timers, a pick where you weren't expecting it on a carry, can lose you a game that you easily should have won. So I would like to see SLCC kind of push their advantage a little bit further. Now, you could say that Poro-Snax is doing an okay job at slowing down the game so that they can get more opportunities. But anyways, we're back into the game. Cho'Gath getting dove on.
3-on-1 onto Tachyon. He wants to go for Honey Guillotine. He is low. He might be able to get the ultimate off, but in joins the rest of Slick. Poro-Snax jump in. Server Panda is the target of an ult, immediately knocked out of his own, and that's 3 more kills for the side of Slick. TTV has to run away. Oh, but the passive from Mundo keeps him from being pulled underneath the turret, and that's going to be 4 members of Slick up on the top side, going to wreck that turret and push themselves into the base.
Yeah, Slick is absolutely terrifying right now. I think even Emilio could probably 1v1 anyone on Poro-Snax's team.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
Definitely
but
feels
Rift
bad.
Herald is summoned up. They take yet another turret. They're ready to break an inhibitor. 5 members of Slick on the warpath on the top side. TTV gets caught. They have 2 members in the mid lane. They're going to rotate. They don't have minions to push under here. They're just going to take a kill and I think step out.
Yeah, and not take the mid turret. I think they could have just stayed and fought them. I guess they really had some big buys at that point. It was 5-on-3. Yes, you have a turret there, but you've got enough HP to pass around. I think they could have taken a second inhibitor. But a safe play.
Backdoor bonus on the turret. There were no minions.
True. Yeah, I have that season 1 mentality sometimes. I say don't go for Baron, and I say get that turret, but that's not always the right play, and that is why I'm not in esports.
Yeah, and it's the same here, right?
Yeah.
But I think that how Slick uses the bear. Oh, what is that attack speed on Mundo? Did you see that?
He's got an auto attack reset on his E, but
oh, that's right.
Yes.
More damage here. Server Panda is in some huge trouble. Rigby is out of control.
Just completely evaporated. Poor guy. Poor Rigby. But that is okay. They're going to be taking the Baron, pushing in both the bottom lane and Baron at the same time. Poro-Snax is pulled in 2 separate directions, trying to answer both threats. Baron going to the side of SLCC, and they're probably going to push for the win right here. Mundo easily can bring them all on.
Here we go. They pop his They didn't pop his passive with the ultimate. The crowd control stays in. They knock him in. Do they have the slow? The Spiraling Despair is down. It should slow him down enough. They get the knockup. This is 4 men on an illusion. They're dealing as much damage as they can. The ultimate from Jude goes out. They pull him right back in. The minions are dealing quite a lot of damage.
Oh, they got him!
They managed to kill him. An illusion is not an illusion anymore. He is dead. Teleport is coming out of Tachyon. They are underneath the turrets. They block from Rigby. Stops him from taking absolute 0 damage. They take 2 kills and take the turrets. This is going to be the second Nexus turret going down. Trashfloor tries to do a little bit of something. Flashes away into the fountain. But game number 1 goes the way of Slick.
21 minutes into the game, and SLCC coming in strong. They got the Mundo. I thought that was very impressive. Good job, Poro-Snax, and good job, Salt Lake Community College. We're very excited to have you in this tournament with such a strong showing.